All right, so I'm going to enjoy this moment. In politics, they say you got to talk quick, elevator speech, you got to have talking points. We were talking about it earlier, right? School safety is good. Enjoy your drinks, everybody. No, let's have a real conversation. I want to enjoy this moment. But before we do that, first and foremost, can we give some love and a round of applause for our venue, Crooked Thumb representing. And by the way, do y'all like vibes? You know, like young people say it's a vibe. Who's making this thing a vibe tonight? That's the man right there. Get some love for Justin Rice. Tell your friends, tell your family. Bring Justin out to your bar mitzvah. Right, Justin? I appreciate you, Justin. Let's also get one more round of applause for my guest speakers, Tammy and Brand. Give them some love for stepping up, believing in something and actually doing something about it. But most importantly, the most unlimited resource in the world, the most unlimited resource on the planet. Chief, what is it? Excuses. Because no matter how many you use them, you will never run out. And y'all could have picked anywhere else to be here, but you chose to be here tonight. You chose to be a part of something that is about our kids, the most important thing in our county. So for that, can you give yourselves a round of applause for showing up? It's not just because the beer. So this is a full circle moment. If you don't know, we did the campaign kickoff here about 6 months ago. We had about 20 in attendance, mostly family, and now I just counted and we're over 50. So, hey, progress. This whole thing started with a question: can I, as a dad, continue to make a difference? Can I, as not someone who's a politician, get involved in politics? This is a nonpartisan race. This is an at-large race, meaning anyone that lives in the county can vote. But just because it's nonpartisan doesn't mean people have strong views about their education, about their kids' education. And the reason I got involved is because I have some strong views as well. I am a dad of 2 amazing kids. Frankie and Maggie, how y'all doing? They're applauding for you. Applause back. Yes. My mom, anyone want to guess what my mom's profession is? Did she mention it? My mom's a public school teacher. Taught me a lot about what I know. My wife, who I put to work tonight and did not complain at all, is a social worker and the love of my life. Can you give her a round of applause? But everything shifted when we dropped our kids off at their first day of public school back in August. And we were looking around, and there were a bunch of teachers that wanted to make a difference. There were a lot of parents that were nervous. I was nervous. And there was leadership on site that were all in. They had a mascot just running around in the halls. And in that moment, I had a realization, and I learned this through our adoption story, is that some of the most important decisions that impact our kids for 5, 10, 15 years down the road are made by adults that work in systems. So I had a real decision I had to make in that moment. Am I just going to stand back and hope this thing goes in the direction that I wanted to go for my kids? Or am I going to do something about it? So I left the first day of school, went straight to the Vote Pinellas office, and announced my candidacy for District 3 at large. Same day. And I paused for a round of applause. And fun fact on that real quick, I'll give you a little peek behind the scenes. After I announced my candidacy, the next day I get a call from the vote office, and they said, if you don't get back here in 10 days to fill out a form, you're going to get a felony. And that's wild, right? 41 years, born and raised in Florida, never any legal trouble, 24 hours in politics, I'm going to get a felony, right? Thank you, sir. I went back the same day. Yes, I'm not trying to get caught up like that. But it was kind of a representation of what this campaign is going to look like, where I'm going to go from here. Because when I talked with my wife, I said, if I'm doing this, I came in with my integrity, I'm going to do it with integrity, and I'm going to leave with my integrity. So I'm going to do this thing my way. And I stay true to that. There is no party backing me. There's no consultant telling me what to say. There's no one modifying my speeches or telling me what my campaign messaging should be. There's no big ticket donors. If you don't believe that, you could look at my campaign finance report. It's just me. And the other thing I wanted to do is say, okay, can you have that mindset? Can you truly be nonpartisan in a partisan place, which is politics? So I went out and started to talk with people. And I'll tell you, if I can talk to someone long enough, and I'm coming back at this table soon, we almost always have common ground. What do parents want? They want stability. They want safety. They want transparent communication. What do teachers want? They want to be heard. They want to be supported. They want to be compensated. Like, we have all this common ground, so why does it have to be partisan? And I feel that when I talk to individuals in the community. Now, I will tell you, online it's been a different battle. Trying to be nonpartisan in social media has been a journey for me, someone who likes to respond to all the different comments. So I wanted to kind of give you a feel for what some of that's been looking like. Can I share with you an example of a comment I received recently? And if one of y'all were the ones that did this anonymously, you're gonna have to admit to it. So this person said, Curtis, nice to meet you. I think you should be court-ordered away from other people's kids. And by the way, this was in response because I said that we should have more empathy in schools. Now, in fairness to him, he did say court-ordered from other people's kids. So like he was cool with me raising my own kids, so parental rights, right? I guess we're getting somewhere. I have been called a left-leaning conservative. I don't even know what that is. A conservative Democrat. A secret Republican who's acting like a Democrat but is actually a Democrat behind the scenes. Someone who's too centrist, too progressive, too political, and just doesn't embrace politics enough. So has there anyone ran for school board like that? I'm some sort of hybrid. My mom always said I was special. See, Mom? I'm all of these things. But the thing about me, like, people don't realize when they drop those labels or they try to criticize or try to put me in a box, is that's been happening since I was yay high. My middle school teacher, when my mom suggested that I might go to college one day, laughed in the parent-teacher conference. She laughed. And you know, for what it's worth, later in high school, I ended up leaving and getting my GED. So maybe she was right? And then back then when we had a GED, I'm 41 now. So back then when you got a GED, there was a stigma attached to it. They said, oh, we know where this guy's going to go. We know what his history is going to be. But from there, I went to college. I got my degree in psychology. I started working in group homes, became a director of the YMCA, became a case manager for all the Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco, and did so well with the state that they ended up giving me a $4 million contract to serve the most at-risk youth in the state of Florida, 145 per day. But I wasn't done. They said, you know what? Stick to what you're doing. Don't rock the boat. Look how well it's going. I said, you know what? No, I want to reach more people. So I started my own business, my own company. So now I don't help youth and families in just Florida. I do it across the country. And I did that before I even knew what an LLC meant. I thought it meant little Curtis. So these labels don't bother me. They don't matter to me. What I learned is that labels invite discussion. And people are rarely arguing for positions. They're arguing for personal experiences. And I will talk with our community and learn those personal experiences so that we can get to those solutions. Now let's shift to school. The other choice that we had to make when our kids were going to school last year was public, private, or charter. Homeschool wasn't on the table. Remember, I got my GED. That wasn't going to work. And when we were making our decision, we toured all of them. We talked to all of them. I don't criticize parents for trying to make a choice that they think is in the best interest of their kids. We were doing it as well. But in the end, we chose public school for a lot of reasons. The parents picked the other schools. My mom worked there, which meant I know the communication is going to be on point because I can text her whenever I need to. And then I found out that the leadership on site, to what we were talking about, the leadership, the principal, he doesn't just sit in his office. He's out in the hallways. He's pulling kids aside. He's supporting his teacher. And in the community at this school, they're not just sitting back saying, oh, this is just somewhere kids go to school. They say, we want to be involved too. You know, recently the city of Oldsmar hosted a daddy-daughter dance. free to dads to come, that room was packed, right? And that's what it means to be a part of a school, to be a part of a community, to be invested in that. But I will say, even though I am an advocate of public school, if you choose an option other than public, politicians, and I'm going to get off, politicians, I'm going to try to speak very carefully. They don't want you to have two ideas at the same time. They want you to have one. In other words, if you're in private school is better, and don't worry about public school. Or if you're in public school, private is bad. So fight them, and then they'll fight back, and then who gets the funding, right? What I want to do, and the type of school board member I'm going to be, is we're going to have two thoughts at the same time. If you do not want to have your kids in public school, that is your choice. However, don't argue against the funding and supporting the schools that matter the most in our community that are serving over 70% of the students. And to break this down, I had this realization recently when we were deciding where to do pool day. We were taking our kids to the pool on a Saturday. And we have access to a private pool in Palm Harbor. And then we have access to a rec center in Palm Harbor that's free to the community. See where I'm getting at here? Now don't get me wrong, the private is a vibe. You got music, there's a bar, it's a good time. There's not a lot of bureaucracy. We can just swim wherever we want, not even a lifeguard. It is an enjoyable experience. And that is because we are consumers. And we are paying for a service, and they are making sure I continue to be a customer. And if that's my choice to go to that private location, then that is my choice. In contrast, when we go to the rec center, my little girl has to take like 37 swim tests. She has 8 bracelets. Each one says what part of the pool she can be in. There's 34 lifeguards watching me to see if I'm with her at all times. There's a lot of bureaucracy. Not necessarily tailored to the customer. But then I had this realization, well, why is this happening? It's because that rec center, that public good, is available to everyone. Their primary concern isn't making sure me as an individual parent is just happy about my experience. They're making sure that this is a safe, stable place for any child that needs to learn how to swim. Whatever you look like, whatever your economic level, they are there for you. So I can go to this private pool and have a good time, but that doesn't mean I got to talk down on this other good that is available for everyone. So as Tammy said, I want to urge you and challenge yourself and talk to your neighbors and say, whatever your school choice is, think about what public schools will mean to the community. Think about what type of Pinellas County we want to have. Do we want to have an educated workforce? Do we want to have people prepared to go to that next stage of life? Do we want people to buy houses and grow up in our county? Or do we just want to say, I made my choice, good luck with them? I am going to be the type of school board member that's going to be one of the strongest and most vocal advocates for public school that there has ever been. And that's not just because my kids are in it, but because I understand the big picture and the importance of it. And what I want to do here is give you some of my policy positions for this table specifically right here. And after I speak, and this is why I spoke early, this is a meet and greet. I want you to talk to me and I want you to challenge the way I think. Because I love that type of discussion, especially when it's from former teachers. So let me go through a couple of policy positions here. First and foremost, teacher recruitment and teacher engagement. Would you like to take a guess on what where our teacher pay ranks in the nation? 50th for teacher pay. Think about that. This is the profession that is literally responsible for educating children so that they can then enter the workforce, get high-paying careers, and then contribute back into the economy, which affects all of us, no matter where you live in Pinellas County. And they are 50th. You know, you want to guess where we are on the funding per student and the nation average? You think we're average, above average? Where do you think we're at? 4,000 less than the national average funding per student. One of the main platforms is I stand with helping professions. I stand with teachers. I will advocate at this next session for funding, for higher teacher pay, but more than that is teachers need to feel heard. A lot of times teachers have concerns. They want things to be improved in their school, but they can't say it out loud because they're worried about what the repercussions are going to be. Guess what? I'm not going to be a school member that's worried about saying it. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to stand for teachers. My mom's one. I have to. I'll get disowned. Second, as I said, I'm going to advocate for public school. Public schools are for any child, no matter their situation, to be able to better themselves, have opportunity. Some kids just go to get lunch. Why in the world are we not prioritizing our funding for our schools? I'm going to keep talking about it and keep coming up with more pool analogies, and I'm going to do it till I am blue in the face. Our public schools shouldn't just be a place where kids go because that's where the closest bus is. It should be a center of the community because it is available for all of the community. The third priority is going to be partnerships. Pinellas County, do y'all think Pinellas County is well off with resources, average, or below average as far as resources, funding, nonprofits? What do you think? I sit on two boards, one a workforce board for the entire Southeastern of workforce development, and then also a juvenile justice board. And one of the things we always say at the end of those meetings is Pinellas County is resource rich. We are not void of resources and supports and ways to collaborate with our schools, except everyone right now operates in silos. They're really concerned about their specific funding stream and their specific outcome, and if anyone gets involved, could that get in the way of their numbers? I have a proven track history of bringing multiple perspectives and organizations together to solve problems. I am going to bring these partners together to help better support our schools. Those areas of our schools where we fall short in funding, we're going to tap into the community and make sure they're picking up some of the slack as well. And then number 4, what do you think if you're a parent, or think about yourself as a parent? What would be most concerning for you right now for children? What gets you nervous? I know it terrifies me. Safety, of course. What else? What about where we're going? What are you worried about children potentially being on or seeing too much of or being too much part of? What's that? Cybercrime, we're getting their screen time? Yes, technology. I don't know, did you see the New York Times article that just came out? Our reading levels are at the lowest than they ever have been in the last 10 years. Kids are graduating and they don't even know how to read. And again, if you're saying, well, I'm not a parent, so that might not affect me, or I live in a certain area where we're good, they all know how to read, this thing isn't isolated. Your economy, your community is affected. It will reach you if we're not creating an educated community. What's that? That's some good feedback. I appreciate that. I look forward to a one-on-one conversation about that. Yes. So what I'm going to advocate for is not to run away from technology, but to empower our teachers, to give them their autonomy back, to help think of creative ways to get our kids away from these screens. You're not going to take the screens and the technology completely out of the classroom, but we have to get back before COVID, when teachers had the ability to do the part of the job they love so much and say, I'm going to meet my class where they are at. I'm going to meet them what their needs are, and I'm going to get creative in doing it. That's going to be a big step for where we're going with AI and technology. And then we also have to tap into the individuals and the businesses in our community, which there are a lot of them, that know this space very well, and bring them to the table and ask them questions and ask about the unintended consequences that technology has on our students, and then get them to create a plan so we can get ahead of it. AI technology is here. We need to not be reactive. We can't be Blockbuster. You remember Blockbuster? Go to Blockbuster, get a nice movie, it's a vibe, everybody wants to go. And then their company came around and said, hey, we'll sell you Blockbuster. Blockbuster, you can buy us. It was like $30 million. You want to remember who that company was? Netflix. And Blockbuster said, nah, you're not going to be anything. People will always want the Blockbuster experience. People will always just want to go and enjoy that. And then one Blockbuster closed, and then another closed, and then meanwhile Netflix was always looking around the corner. What is next? How do we innovate? Our schools need to have that same mindset. When privates or charters see public schools doing well, they take those ideas. We need to take those ideas when we see private doing well or charter doing well, not take it as a threat that means we're not doing our job, but because we're treating it with a business mindset even though we're providing a public good. That's where my experience is, and that's the direction I wanna go. So here's my call to action. Someone recently asked a really powerful question. And it shook me for a while that I didn't have a good answer. I actually gave like a politician answer. School safety, teachers matter. Oh, right? But then I thought about it after and I was like, what is my answer? And the question was, how can we trust you? We've heard this a million times before. We hear this from politicians every single day. You're gonna do this. You'll do this. Oh, look how much you advocate. And then once you get in that seat, not so much. It's a lot of status quo. So here's my answer how you can trust me. When we chose public school, we had 3 options. And when we picked the option for our kids, we said, we are making the choice that is the best for you. So me not following through on my choice is not following through on my choice that I've made for my family. I am at a minimum 15 years invested in our schools because my children are there. How can you trust me? Because I will not walk away from this thing thinking I could have did better. I could have done more. I could have created a better middle school or high school for my children. I am going to plant trees for shade I might never see. Hopefully I will, but I'm in it, and with your help, we can make it happen. So let me give you some dates on how we're going to do this. First and foremost, if you want to volunteer, there's a volunteer up at the raffle table. Everyone has different strengths, different skill sets. Does anybody like to cold call people? Some of y'all do, don't lie. Does anyone like to knock on doors? There he is. Give him a round of applause for knocking on doors. The only one. You're going to be knocking on a lot of doors. 20 doors. Okay. Can I get 25, 30 doors? Yes. 400 doors 20 times. That's the type of motivation I need. So whatever way you want to get involved, whatever way you want to help, please sign in at the volunteer sheet. If you cannot or you do not want to call or meet people, money does matter in politics. I don't need as much as my opponents. I'm doing a lot of it on my own and I'm good. But if you do have a way to donate and allow me to get my message to more people, that goes a long way in this space. Because the election is on August 18th. And what happens is there are currently 3 people in this race. There is Dawn Peters, who's the incumbent. She's been on the board for about 4 years now. You can Google her name and learn a lot about the choices she made. You know what? We're in June, so I can be a little more transparent, right? Dawn Peters got on the board by screaming at the board. She was yelling at him. You should be doing this. You're a problem. This should change. And now when I go speak at the board and I go to public comment, they tell me I need to have civility, decorum, speak calmly. This is a friendly space, right? I don't know. My point is, the person that was promised to the voters when she ran, is that the person that you got? If not, maybe there's an opportunity for change. The other person is Dawn Douglas. Dawn Douglas has ran for a couple times before. She is a current teacher, and she has a lot of passion. I am the only candidate that has kids in public schools right now, will for the next 15 years, the only one that's worked 15 plus years helping youth and families, and the only one that's a truly nonpartisan candidate. We have a real opportunity here to bring people together, to prioritize students, not deal with all that other nonsense that comes with it, and you have somebody who's not afraid to speak up and say it. It's the only way I know how. So if you can volunteer, you can get involved, and then August 18th is the primary. If no one gets 50 plus 1 vote, it goes to general in November, and we're going to need you to make it happen. I do a lot on my own, but it also takes a village. So with that being said, one final note. Thank you so much for being here. Give yourself one more round of applause because this means the world to me. Yes.
Get your vote by mail ballot.
Yes, vote by mail starts in July. This is a true nonpartisan race, so there will not be a donkey or an elephant or any other animal on the ballot. But there is one guy and there's two Dons. So vote for the dad. Then August 18th, make sure you can early vote. If you're not early voting, vote the same day. The turnout for the August primary school board is very low. To get there, to get a nonpartisan candidate on the board, we need y'all, and we need the word to get out. And just put me in front of the people, and I will talk to them. Thank you. Lastly, have a beer, enjoy yourself, talk to people, ask questions, and make sure you listen to the most talented man in Pinellas County. Let's bring Justin Rice back up here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Oh, wait. You want to say something? All right. Can Maggie do a little thing? Hey, Frankie. All right, let's go. Hold him. Come over here, away from the speaker. All right, Frankie, you want to go first?
I love Daddy.
I'll give you $5 later. All right. Maggie.
Vote for Daddy.
Vote for Daddy. Oh, that's $10. All right. Speaking of money and donations, you can scan the QR code to give some money to the campaign. We also have some raffles. What we're going to do is let's let Justin play for another 15 minutes or so, and then we'll do the raffles, give out some prizes, and then enjoy the rest of your night. Again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all so much.
Oh my God. Okay, Justin's gonna play. You want Justin? You want Justin?
All right, let's give it up for. Good. You guys hear me out there? It's coming through on the speaker still on my system? No? All right, let's give it up for Curtis one more time, everybody. And let's give it up for Tammy and Brant as well for speaking. And I want to thank you guys for coming out too. I don't try to get political in any way, even for nonpartisan on the stage, but I'm going to just make an exception here and say I've gotten to know Curtis the last few months, and I do agree he is a man of integrity, and I think he's the man for the job. And if you guys haven't got to know him, take the opportunity to have a beer with him or just chat, and he's an open book. So thanks for coming. I'm going to bring some more music in just a minute.